what did the English dubbed anime character say to the other English dubbed anime character? No, seriously, I don't know because I refuse to watch English dubbed anime. Seriously, I only watch the Japanese version. Well, don't look at me like that. It wasn't a joke. I was just asking you a question, man. Hello, my name is Fu Manchu. Now, I recently rode with a friend of mine, and she told me that her and her boyfriend had started watching My Hero Academia. And I told her, I really like the character designs in that show, so I was amazed that I hadn't seen it. But I do have my reasons. Now, one of the reasons why I thought I should have watched it was because I'm an anime fan from way back. I'm talking old school anime. And she looked at me and she said, like Cowboy Bebop? And I went, you do realize that there were older school anime than Cowboy Bebop. No, I go way back, even before it was called anime. Seriously, we just called it Japanese cartoons, or cartoons. It's kind of like Japanese comics, man. You call them Japanese comics, but then later you found out that they called them manga, and then after that they called them manga, and you're like, oh, for crying out loud. They're Japanese comics! And you know what? I'm still a fan to this day. And with Japanese cartoons, I really like them a lot. But I'm so old school that the only way that I could get them a long time ago, certain shows that I would want, you'd have to go to like a convention or something and buy like a really crappy VHS copy of a watered down version of it, all in Japanese with Japanese subtitles and stuff. And usually you would watch it and you'd be like, I have no clue what's happening, but I love it! And then, years later, you come across like a VHS, English dubbed version somewhere, and it's super mega expensive, and you're like, I gotta have it. Well, that's where I got disillusioned with the English dub. Because one of my favorite anime from a long time ago would be called Riding Bean. Now, that one came out late 80s, so it really isn't that old. But you know what? When I found that English dub, my heart broke. Which, I guess I could show you a visual right now. What you do is you check these two clips here and you compare the two. You take the Japanese version.
どう？目は覚めた？
ラリー、お前な、起こし方っつもんがあるだろうが、俺の目玉焼きでも作るつもりか？
スタンガンじゃ起きてくれないじゃないの。
And then you turn it into this.
Well, you awake now?
Rally, your wake-up technique leaves a lot to be desired. Were you going to fry my eyeball for breakfast?
Well, you didn't wake up when I used the stun gun.
Oh man, that was so bad. Their voices were terrible. I hate it. And they ruined a cartoon that I really like. And I swear to God, I think I could do a better job using this voice for both characters. Let's find out, shall we? Okay, I think I want some of this. Well, you awake now? Well, your wake-up call leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, seriously, what were you gonna do? Stab me in the eye with that fork? I bet you would. I would, too, if you were sleeping long enough. You sleep through everything. I should know. Yeah. Hey, what are you gonna do today? Well, I thought I'd cut this pineapple in half right here. Let me see. I got my pineapple cutting knife. There we go. Hey, you want me to butter your toast? No, I like my toast dry. You see what I mean? I mean, seriously, that was just me screwing around, but at least my voice, as stupid as it is, kind of matches their facial expressions. And that's one of the things that these bad dubs don't do. All of the bad dubs all sound the same. Flat and toneless. The voices don't really match their faces, and you just kind of go, why did you hire those people? Oh, I get it. When you hired voice actors, you wanted somebody who had a voice and wasn't really an actor. Yeah, that makes sense. But you know what? There are a lot of good dubs out there. Don't get me wrong. I just refuse to give a lot of them chances. I mean, because I like a lot of voice actors. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love Troy Baker and Nolan North for one. I mean, seriously. And there's a lot of Japanese cartoons out there, like, like even Macross. You can take Robotech. I really prefer the Robotech voices compared to the Macross voices. I don't know why. I guess it's because that's just my Robotech. You got me. But honestly, I'm not about to give something like My Hero Academia a chance unless it has a Japanese dub. And thankfully, it does. So now I own Season 1 on Blu-ray. And recently going out and getting that Blu-ray, well, that kind of ties in with reason number 1 that I tried to stay away from it. And I told her, the reason I stayed away from it the most, beyond the English dubs, beyond all the, modern Japanese anime, stuff, because I prefer the older stuff and blah, blah, blah. Because the newer stuff, I prefer the cel-painted ones and stuff. They just look so much better. A lot of this new stuff looks like it was created on a computer or something. Now, I'm not saying My Hero Academia does. I didn't know because I hadn't given it a chance yet. But, I will say the main reason I stayed away from My Hero Academia was the merchandise. There is so many toys and so many things out there, and I thought, man, if I fall for this show, I'm gonna fall fast and deep. And guess what? I did. And how big did I fall, Midoriya? Oh, that big? Yeah, I used a how big of a fish did you catch joke in my joke here to paint the description. But seriously, I think that sums it up pretty well. Come on, Shigaraki, give me a hand here. But you know what, honestly, you see these three figures right here? Yeah, these are a result of just talking to her about My Hero Academia. Yeah, I hadn't even seen it yet before I bought these figures. That was the whole point of me staying away from it, was from all the merchandise I was trying to avoid. But I knew, as soon as I gave it a shot, I'd be buying things. But nope, this is just because I talked to her about why I was staying away from the show. But you know what? As she was telling me about the show and how good it was and stuff, and she was telling me in vague terms, of course, you know, because she didn't want to blow anything, I had asked her, I said, look, you know me pretty well. I said, which character out of the myriad of characters that they have on My Hero Academia, because I knew they had a ton of characters on that show, I said, which character would I gravitate towards? Which one would I like the absolute best? And she thought about it for a second, and she goes, would you like Bakugo? And I said, well, what's he like? And she said, well, he's got spiky blonde hair. And I said, sold! Because that's usually the character that I like. Plus, then she said, plus he's like a good guy, but he's like a bad guy. You know, everybody says, you know, if you weren't a good guy, you'd be a bad guy. And I'm like, oh man, you're describing little old Fu right there. I mean, that's perfect. But you know what? Yep, of course I had to have him first. And then I got these other two figures right after that. So, yep, this is what I was trying to avoid. And here they are. Now, since I bought those figures, I have started watching Season 1, and I absolutely love it. Now, I'm not quite done with Season 1. I think I'm 8 episodes in, and I think there's 13 total. So, yeah, I'm almost done, and there's 3 seasons. So, yeah, I am by far not an expert of this show, but I do like it a lot. I love the character design. I love the art. Everything about it, the animation. I love the voices, but I am watching the Japanese version. I'm staying away from the American version. But, yeah, I really do like it a lot. And ever since I got these, man, you know, look at all these characters. That's a lot of toys to buy when they come out. And honestly, that leads me to today's review. Because recently I was walking through a Walmart, and as I was looking at the toys, I went, hey, wait a second. Are those new? Is this wave 2 of the McFarlane figures? Holy cow. So, yep, today's review will be on the following. Today's review will be on the McFarlane Toys My Hero Academia, Shoto Todoroki, and Eijiro Kirishima. And to say that I was surprised to find them hanging on the pegs, well, that would be a major understatement. Heck, I honestly didn't even know they were out. And then when I did a search for them, it looks like they were just announced at this recent Toy Fair or Comic-Con or whatever's going on. So I don't know if these shipped early or what, but yeah, here they are in my grubby little doll hands. And you know what? I absolutely love them. Now, starting with Shoto, check him out. He looks amazing. I love the sculpt of his head, everything about it. Man, this looks so good. Now, from what I saw in a video, it looks like he's got a rubber overlay on his torso there. That's very, very cool indeed. So it hides the articulation. And man, this looks so good. And I love the artwork there on the front of the box. And speaking of loving the artwork, I absolutely love Eijiro's here. He is awesome looking. Got that spiky hair and sharp teeth. And man, he looks so cool. Now, when I bought these figures, I really didn't know much about these characters at all. I mean, I knew Shoto looked really cool, and I knew about Eijiro when he's wearing this mask over here. But honestly, I didn't know anything about him. Now, apparently, his skin gets really hard, kind of like the Thing or something. I don't know, man. But yeah, you see he comes with 2 extra hands. And looking at him with the naked eye, I didn't see the cracks and stuff on his skin on these arms over here. So I was like, why did he come with 2 arms that you swap out at the upper bicep? That's kind of strange. But yep. Apparently that's part of his quirk, and that is awesome. But yeah, these figures look amazing, and like I said, I had no clue they were even coming out, let alone would be out, and here they are in front of me, and I cannot wait to open them. Now, flipping one of the packages around, you'll notice that these aren't the only 2 figures in this wave. If you look closely, you'll see that nice person, as Midoriya would say. Now, I really wish they'd have had her figure too, because her figure's pretty awesome. It comes with a stand that makes it look like the figure itself is floating, and that is very cool indeed. But it shouldn't be too hard to find her, because obviously these figures are out if I've already found these 2. Now, the day that I was there, they had 2 figures of Shoto and only 1 of Eijiro right there. So, yeah, I don't know how hard they are to find. I don't know if any of them are short packed. They probably aren't. They're probably all the same. If anything, it's probably her because she was the one that wasn't there. But Obviously, these two are out if I found them, so hopefully that means she's out as well. Now, as you can see from the back of the package, aside from their little drawings being different and swapped around, that's the only difference there. So let's flip them back around before we open them, shall we? So, here's the front of the package for the very last time, and I gotta say I have been very happy with every one of these McFarlane new figures that have come out. I think these things look great. I mean, they've come a long way since they made like the Armitage of the Third figure and stuff, because those look great. But these really do look like the characters from the anime and stuff. The others looked a bit more stylized, and I'm very happy with them, especially with the articulation and stuff, the paint, everything. It just looks so good. And I've been really happy with the other three that I've already gotten. Now, I haven't gotten All Might yet, but I'm going to get him soon, and I can't wait. But for the time being, let's open these figures up and check them out. What do you say? First up out of the package is Shoto, and check out that paint job on his face. That looks amazing. Now, since I've only watched 8 episodes, he's only made kind of brief background appearances. I think he's had a few lines here and there. Obviously, he used his quirk to use ice. Now, he did that in, like, I think the 7th or 8th episode or something like that, and it was just his left side of his body that iced up or whatever, so I'm assuming it's his right that turns into fire. In the package for this figure, though, the fire was on the left and the ice was on the right, so I don't know if they just put them in there backwards. I don't know if it matters, but obviously it looks like the side with the white hair is the fire side and the side with the brown hair is the ice side, since the ice side is the brown hair that was covered up in the show. I don't know. I haven't watched very far, but you know what? This figure looks amazing. Now, like I said, he's got a rubber overlay or a plastic overlay over his chest there, his torso, so that you can't see his articulation, but he's just as articulated as any of the other figures. And yeah, he looks amazing. I love these new McFarlane figures. They're so stiff and they've got so much articulation. They are doing an amazing job, and I'm very, very happy with them. Now, before we look at his accessories, let's flip him around and look at him from behind. What do you say? And, ooh, check out this little backplate that he has. That is awesome looking. I didn't even know he had that. His hair looks so cool. They did a really good job, you know, having the white side and the brown side. That is great. I love how all the paint on these figures is minimum, you know, so it looks like it's right out of a cartoon as of being, you know, too shaded or anything like that. I love that it's kind of plain looking, and you know what? That is so cool. And look at that double articulation on the back of his legs there. It's got double articulated elbows. This is amazing. Now, looking at his profile there, you've got the brown-haired side. You flip him around. You can see he's got one blue eye and one red eye. Looking at the white-haired side, yeah, this is really cool. Look at the detail work there just in the hair. That is so cool. That's something where they added detail they didn't have to. Because, you know, an anime character doesn't really have that much detail in the, you know, standard drawings that they're using in the show or whatever. Maybe in a close-up or something. You know, maybe sometimes, or even in like posters and stuff. But yeah, they don't usually have this much detail in their hair in the show. And that is very awesome indeed. At least that's, you know, for a typical anime show. Now, I can't remember if My Hero Academia has that much detail in their hair. But yeah, I think it's pretty much just blocky looking. But that is very cool indeed. Now, as for accessories, he comes with these two hands right here. Looks like he could grip something. And he came with a fire quirk and an ice quirk. And they look very cool indeed. Now, looking at the quirks up close, you'll notice that there's just a little hole. And the way it's cut, it looks like it fits a certain hand. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's got like a little notch where the thumb would go, I'm assuming. Over here, the ice is a little bit harder to tell. Now, I thought the ice would go on the left and the fire would go on the right, but it almost looks like that's a... I can't tell. I mean, I'm going to try to put it on the right, but I don't know if I'm right or wrong, so if I'm wrong, just bear with me. So, here's Shoto with his fire quirk and his ice quirk, and those look really cool. Like I said, I don't know if I have them on right, but I think they look awesome and really adds to, you know, the overall look of this figure. Especially if you have them all posed and stuff. That looks so cool indeed. Yeah, that's awesome. Plus, you know, yeah, you can rearrange them, put them on the opposite sides, but I think this is the right side. Like I said, don't quote me on that, because I'm still new to the show, but I really do like this a lot. Next up, we have Ichiro, and if you look at that sculpt really closely, you'll notice he actually has the scar on his eye. That is awesome. I absolutely love it. And yeah, looking at this head sculpt here, you wouldn't notice. I mean, if you know, you might notice. But yeah, that hair comes off. That's pretty cool, huh? But yeah, we'll get more into that in a minute. He's got these like cog things around his arms. That's very cool indeed. He's got this weird little jagged piece that goes around. Then you got his bare arms over here, which are just his normal arms with a little grip of hands. He's got his, I believe that's, what is it, Red Riot or something to do with his power or whatever, because he has the power of hardening, I believe. It makes his skin like sharp and hard or something. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen him in action 100%. Check out that tattered shirt there. That's pretty cool. His boots and feet look amazing. Yeah, this is so cool. Oh, and one of the things, too, that I didn't say came with the other one was a stand! And I am so happy to get a stand. When I got my Bakugo figure, he didn't come with a stand. Somebody opened it up and stole the stand. I mean, between that and the Batarang that got stolen recently, man, people need to stop that. I mean, I understand, but still. Leave the pieces where they're supposed to be. Let's flip this figure around and check him out from behind. So, here's the figure from behind, and check out the detail work there on his hair. That is so cool. Now, like I said, they've added so many details there in the hair chunks. I mean, they could have just made them just triangle shapes, and it would have looked fine. I mean, very anime-like, and that is very cool indeed. You can see that jagged piece, kind of loops around, and that's very cool indeed. Like I said, these are his normal arms. His shirt flaps or whatever this is, his little cape things hanging down, and then the back of his boots look awesome. Now, looking at him from the side, you can see his ear poking out there through his hair, and his hair looks amazing. They did a really good job on these figures, man. They really captured the anime style. It looks so good. I am blown away they added that little scar there. You can see his ears detached because of his hair or whatever. But yeah, I don't think you'd notice that unless you're really looking for it. Plus, I don't even know if it's on all the way, but it sure looks like it to me. Looks very cool indeed. Now, I do know that Midoriya or whatever, his hair comes off too. And yeah, I'd heat it up with a hairdryer first, because if you start just yanking this stuff off, you might break your figure because it's really on there. But once you heat it up, it comes off easy peasy. But now you're probably saying, hey, what did he come with? Well, let's find out, shall we? He came with his two hardening hands, as you can see. See the little cracks and stuff in him? Now, when I saw him in the store, I thought, why does he come with extra hands? I couldn't tell. I knew this one was doing a karate chop, but I couldn't see these cracks at all. And I mean, looking at it here, I'm like, how did I miss them? But yeah, that is awesome. So that's very cool indeed. Those are very detailed, and I can't wait to see what it looks like with those on. Now, he also came with this mask here, and that is so cool. He's got the little devil horns there on it. Looks very neat. I hope that doesn't like mess up the paint on his face, over time if you leave this on or whatever, because his face looks awesome. But, I'm still going to give it a shot and see what he looks like with that on, because that's how I recognize him, with that on. This is very cool indeed. And speaking of which, I wonder if they're ever going to make any of these figures in like their little, street clothes or their class clothes or whatever. I mean, they don't have to, but it would be kind of cool to see them like that too. That is awesome. Now, Eijiro's hair came off pretty easy, a lot easier than the other one. As you can see, it's got like a square peg hole there, and then up here at his head, he's got a square head. And you can see how it snaps on. Now, when it's on there, it's on there. I mean, that little lip there holds it on into place. And that's pretty cool. And plus, if you want to customize figures, this is a really easy way to customize your figure. So let's see what he looks like with the mask on and the other hairpiece. So, here's Eijiro with his mask and hairpiece on, and you know what? I think it looks pretty cool. Now, I highly recommend heating it up with a hairdryer, because it kind of goes on, but these straps down here around his mouth and nose, they're very, very hard if you don't heat it up, and I would be very afraid that it would scratch this matte paint of his face or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of wondering, is his forehead supposed to be that big, and is it resting on his face the way it's supposed to be? But when I looked at the little art book that came with my Blu-rays, yeah, it's kind of the way it fits him, isn't it? So, here's his head from the side, and as you can see, that's how his mask rests on his face. I think they did a really good job. I mean, aside from giving you a whole nother head with the mask sculpted on, I think it's actually kind of cool that you just swap out the hairpiece. That's really cool. Now, speaking of heating things up with a hairdryer, I highly recommend heating up these upper bicep joints or whatever with a hairdryer before you try to swap out the arms, because I've already swapped mine out, but man, they were really stiff in there, and you don't want to break the plastic if it's brittle or anything like that. Because, McFarlane figures in the past, now I know those are the older figures, they always broke on me, so I don't want to be yanking off any arms and breaking off the pegs and then not being able to find this figure again for a few months. That would suck. But you know what? You heat them up with a hairdryer, they come right off, and you swap them right on really easily, and they look amazing. Now, as you can see, it's got all the little cracks and stuff in it. That looks very awesome indeed. And the same goes for the other side. And if you look down here, that looks very, very cool. Yeah, that is amazing. And you know what? I'm very, very, very happy with these figures. And I gotta say, they really go well with the ones I already have. Now, if I can get my hand on an All Might and get my hand on that nice person, as Midoriya would say, honestly, this collection's going to look very cool, and I'm already happy with it. These are amazing, and McFarlane, keep them coming. So, there's my review of the McFarlane toys of My Hero Academia, Shoto Todoroki, and Eijiro Kirishima. And I am so happy with these figures. They are awesome. I've been very happy with all of the new McFarlane figures. Man, they are knocking it out of the park. And like I said, I fell hard for this show too. Ugh. Man, I was trying so hard to stay away from it too. I mean, every time I think I'm out, they pull me right back in. And you know what? Doesn't matter. I like it a lot. And I say, McFarlane, keep putting the figures out because I'll keep getting them. Now, back to my anime story to prove how long I've been into anime. A friend of mine and me used to work at a video store. Now, back then, this video store had VHS tapes, cassette tapes, and t-shirts. Yeah, that's how long ago it was. Sheesh. But you know what? Back then, anime, I mean, we called it anime by this point, but it really wasn't popular. It wasn't mainstream the way it is now. I mean, seriously, believe me, there was just a few people that we knew that it was even into it. Now, he was casually making conversation one day as we all stood there. It was me, him, and the assistant manager and the manager. We were the only ones in the store at the time. I think it was after hours or something. And he told them, do you know what you guys need? You need to have a wall dedicated to just anime movies. You know, anime series and TV shows, because they were really hard to find, and he knew, man, you know, if there was a store that had all these things, we could just walk in and get them and walk out. Oh, that'd be so cool. Well, the assistant manager and the manager looked at each other, and they looked at him, and I think this clip that everyone's seen a million times sums up their reaction.
You serious?
And that, dear children, is how you know you're old school. So, until next time, tune in for more Foo Reviews!
There's the door.
Hey, this is Nolan North. You don't want to miss Foo Reviews. And I'm out.